mean, the Rip Groove bootleg is a perfect example. Was originally written in 2015 under our old names, and that was at the time we wanted to write something a bit more. We quickly realised that writing liquid is great, but for music to be played out and about, we wanted to sort of go into more jungly vibes in drum and bass. Because and then I remember writing that. We spent a good week writing it. I think it took us 3 days just to do the vocals.
I was about to say I can remember the vocals taking an absolute edge.
But the track itself was it was written quite quickly, and it was one of them. And you look at it now, however, 2015, so what, 8 years on, and it's massive. Like, everyone's playing it, and it's an example of a tune that just sort of simmered away, and how just
it's the vocal, isn't it? I mean, that's a forever tune. When I play garage sets, I play the original every set.
We love the original.
It's just one of those tracks, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think that's what we wanted to do with that as an example of a track, is we wanted, and this ethos that we still have today when we do bootlegs, is we want to keep it close to the original, but just change it up so it works at drum and bass speed, or add our own little thing. And it's we knew when we made the tune, I love playing it all the time. Gave it to a few people, and it just, in our early gigs that we did, I'd play it out, and it would always go down well. And we were like, we knew we were onto a good tune, but at the time we were pretty much unknown. And then the story is that Gray and Cara found it, because initially it got put out as a free download on a SoundCloud page or something, and then that page went closed up, but then it got leaked onto DNB Share or something, and then I think like Cara and Gray found it, and then they were playing it all the time, and then there are two people that, for an example, and then they I wouldn't say blew up, but they deservedly got bigger and bigger, and they were playing it out, and then it just sort of spiraled from there, really. And then I think in the last 3 years, it's then once people start hearing it and realizing it was us, then we were getting messages about it. So we actually then, I went back to it, tweaked it ever so slightly, just to bring it up to our sort of, at the time, slightly modern production. I didn't change it that much. There wasn't anything added. It was just the mix down. And then at that point, it was like, right. So when people were asking, I was giving them this update. And then we decided we then decided we'll put it out as a freebie ourselves. When I was getting messages about it, then you had people like Len's playing it, then the DNB All-Stars on the 360 sets. And once it got into that sort of, with the newer generation of DJs and ravers, everyone was just asking. I was getting messages every week going, can I have this tune? Love this tune, love this tune. And it's a really good story, and I love it. It makes you so happy, because I wrote it when I was in a small box room in a uni flat when I was at uni. So
yeah, no, it's a great bootleg. It is. I mean, obviously, I heard it for the first time on Instagram, and only commented, and next thing I know, it's in my inbox. So thank you for that. But yeah, it's been played a few times. It's definitely one of those. But I'm glad you bring up bootlegs, because this is one of the main things I actually wanted to speak to you about. It's like a talking point that really came to mind is what your impression is of bootlegs, because you guys in your sets, on your radio shows, you love the bootleg sounds. Obviously, you're putting a lot of bootlegs in your sets. You're doing a lot of the mashups as well with the vocals. Yeah. But I wanted to ask you, with bootlegs, do you see anything that's damaging in music to them? And can you name some of the bigger benefits as well that you've seen from it? You may have answered that last one a little bit, but just want to see both sides of the coin from your opinion.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, because I think now with how there's a lot more producers coming in, and with production and the technology now, it's I think it's really good to, like you say, just to have something in your sets to complement your DJ sets, or just to give it out to a few people. I think it can be damaging it depends. I think this is down to everyone sees a bootleg slightly differently, and for us, I think is you got to do a bit of prep and research. One of the first things we do if we come up with an idea for a bootleg is I'll Google to see if it's already been done. If it's already been done and it's a good enough version, don't bother. There's plenty of other tunes, and there's things that I have seen where there is a track that maybe go big, and then you see 12 or 15 bootleg versions, and you just think
it's happening all the time now. It's very hard to get away from.
Yeah, so
we used to play a game where you go on YouTube, and it was a drinking game, and you tell somebody a track, and you had to type the title of the track in YouTube with the word dubstep at the end. And if there's a bootleg of it, you have a drink. Well, guess what? We're all paralytic by like the 10th, 8th drunk, because there's a bootleg of everything in dubstep. But
I think it goes back then to what we said of how we make bootlegs, is that we like to keep it to the keep it to the original, but just kind of put our twist on it, so something that's similar. And I think with then the 12 to 15 bootlegs, then if they all come out very quickly, is that all they've done is kind of taken the build up of then the original track, and then they've had a half finished project somewhere of, oh, I've made some beats and I've made some bass and I don't know what to do with it, and they've kind of just slapped them both together.
Yeah.
And that to me is like for a bootleg it's like, what's the point kind of thing. That the drop sounds nothing like the original track or the original, and you just think, I think that's almost, to me, I feel like that's like, what's the point?
I think I think, and the thing is bootlegs can be damaging, but I think a well produced bootleg can work wonders. And we've seen it before. It's happening more than ever that actually people are doing bootlegs and they're doing really well, and then the original labels are seeing this, and then they're going, oh, actually we'll turn it into an official remix. Or
it's happened a lot. There's a lot of big tracks out there that's done that.
Or it turns into a cover. So what starts as a bootleg, then they re-record the vocals or whatever, and then it gets released as a cover version. I mean, that's been happening a lot lately. There's loads of examples of that. But so yeah, I think bootlegs are here to stay, and to be fair, they always have been. It's just a digital version of what you'd get on a white. I've got some white labels that just say drum and bass remix, and they were limited run copies of bootlegs, but they sound to me, they sound brilliant. And I think there'll always be you'll always get this split of is a bootleg worth it? And I think it's down to the producer, and I think when inspiration is low, bootlegs can be very good to just get you back on there. But at the same time, I think you've got to I always say, if we're going to bootleg a tune, then we just you go with the mindset of, I'm going to ruin this original tune, because sometimes it can happen. There's bootlegs that I've done that I will never play because they just didn't quite work out, or there's bootlegs I've done that just weren't quite right. I don't write the bootlegs instantly. I think some of them the idea is been there for a long time, like a year, and then it's just making sure that you've got to get it right, or I'll write down the idea and then spend time, because and you can do some digging as well. Especially, it's a lot better if you've got remix parts available, or now with the technology of like the artificial intelligence, the AI stuff, you can do a lot more than with just the original, which is what we've been doing, and or you're replaying a lot of the parts yourself. So and I think we do bootlegs in waves, we do bootlegs in waves, and then just have a few and give them out to people and have them for our sets. So this year we've done sort of 3 or 4 doing the rounds. We've been doing trance tunes, and again it's trying to fuse something together that's like trance with drum and bass, but again, not every tune works at drum and bass speed. That's the hardest thing, but it's good fun actually, and it's just something different. And like I say, I Google first, and if it hasn't been done, then we go, brilliant, right, there's something we can tap in. So I think I think bootlegs, yeah, there can be too much, and I think there's times where actually, if you do a bootleg, take out all the bits that are the bootleg of the track and see if you can turn it into an original track, because originals are always, labels can sign originals, labels can't sign bootlegs. So
well,
I think,
there's a big opinion about it at the minute going around the internet. I mean, obviously, as we know, if you're into drum and bass, you've heard Badadan, and within days of that track being releasing, there was a few remixes going about, a few bootlegs, and by the looks, one got played a few times at Let It Roll, and I think Chase and Status were actually online posting about how they weren't happy about it as well. But again, I mean, how do you look at it? Like I say, if you're remixing another genre, should that fall into this thing that you shouldn't do it? Or is it because it's the same genre mixing into that genre again, it's too soon? I guess there's a lot of proverbials to it, isn't there?
yeah,
a lot of angles to why you should or shouldn't. I mean, personally, I love bootlegs. I think, you know, they definitely benefit both people. They benefit the original artist, and they benefit, obviously, the artist that's doing them. But I still get the counter argument as well, you know?
Yeah, I do.
Why,
I think,
why have you done the Badadan bootleg?
Yeah. What's the why?
Why have you done it? Is it because you want to ride the hype train and try and get as much views and exposure? Then no, you shouldn't be.
Or is it yourselves who's bringing a new tune, who's bringing an old tune into a different genre? That's a different.
But then if you've listened to Badadan and you've gone, I could do a better version, then maybe. But then Badadan is it is a good tune, you know, and to then make it from a good to like a better would be very difficult. I think like, I know there's a lot of, I want to use Tap Ho the TC Tap Ho as an example, like the AMC remix of Tap Ho, that to be honest, personally, I thought Tap Ho, the original, was banging. And then the AMC remix came out a few years later. And yeah, that was great. But to be honest, I'd actually still play the original in my sets.
Yeah.
Not because I don't think it, like the AMC remix is bad. It is a good remix, but I just don't think it
doesn't add to it, does it? It's just a different take on it, really. Yeah.
That's the remix that's been asked. And I think this is the thing is, the whole Badadan thing it's really, I can see both sides, and I do think we have this in drum and bass where we have these unwritten rules, and I think that the new generation coming in, or the younger generation, they sort of look at these rules, inverted commas, and go, why? And to be honest, I can see where they're coming from. Like, we do have these unwritten rules that we all follow. It's just been passed down, and personally, for me, I wouldn't bootleg a drum and bass tune. It's like crapping on your own doorstep. There's so much music out there. Yeah, it's look elsewhere in other genres and fuse them together, because you may, I think it's seeing something the original artist may actually like it.
If you've got a great idea for it, go ahead. If you're doing it just for the sake of doing it to ride the wave, then I guess it falls into that latter of probably going to piss people off generally.
And to be fair, I think that's another thing as well, was it's always good to, I think, see if you, like with social media now, more people are accessible than ever, and people will respond. So if you were doing a bootleg of a drum and bass tune, reach out to the original artist before you upload it everywhere and go public. With our Rick Groove bootleg, we actually did try and reach out, but we never got anywhere with that. And I think it is. I think it's always worth reaching out, and it's the same. We've done some remixes, and we've tried reaching out, and sometimes you may not get anything back, but it's always make the effort, and then I do think that people potentially they get excited, and I don't blame them. You've got this bootleg and you're really happy and you just want to get it out there, and I think it's the rushing in can just cause.
But then it also is kind of who's the first to do it as well, and that mentality can also then brush things, and then you're not going to have the time to go to the original artist and ask, we've done this, what do you think of this? Because by then someone who hasn't reached out to them has already posted it.
Yeah, I do feel like people are thinking it's a race, and it's not. It's not a race. Writing music shouldn't be a race, and if it is,
it should always be quality,
not quantity.
over quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't agree more with you, boys. I think for myself with the bootlegs, it's got to be, like you say, the right one. If you're picking a track out because you've got a great idea for that track, go ahead and do it. Let's see what happens. Especially if it's from another genre, that's always going to be a plus point as well. But yeah, remixing a drum and bass track that's just come out for the sake of remixing it into drum and bass again, just to ride that wave, it kind of it shows a little bit of disrespect in a way, can't you? So that unwritten rule, I guess, is kind of played into it.
Or it's just got to be really it's got to be almost impossibly good in order for it to be like better than the original.
So let's go back to go on. Sorry, what were you saying?
No. So it's all that we could have this conversation for hours, and everyone will have their own opinion, and I think it's easy to get caught up with it. But at the end of the day, if you want to do something, go and do it. If people don't like it, then people don't like it. It's like tunes. Not everyone's going to like the tune. And if you don't like it, and there's tunes that I may not like, but I can appreciate why they're there. And you will, as long as you will find people who like it, and just keep going. And
But then also another perspective of it is from the raver, of if a bootleg absolutely just makes the crowd go nuts, surely isn't it the ravers who decide what's good and what's not? And we can sit here and just argue about it, but if the ravers love it.
What's up, everyone? Lee UHF here, the host of DNB Wraps. Thank you for watching our videos. If you like what you're hearing and seeing on the channel, please make sure you're subscribing to it. Please make sure you thumbs up the videos, and more importantly, let's get some comments going as well. It really helps the channel, and in order for us to provide this content to you, we do need the channel to grow. So we can't do this without your help. Hope you enjoy the video. Speak to you soon.